Am I the a-hole? Ex-wife called the cops on me after I saved our son from her mistake. I am divorced, and I want to make sure I am not being unreasonable toward my ex-wife, but I am feeling pretty worried about my kid's health. We have a 5-year-old with type 1 diabetes who was diagnosed on his first birthday, so we've been at this for 4 years. He got the Omnipod system this year, and we all went through the training. Insulin pump. I woke up on Monday morning to texts from his mom saying his blood sugar was between 425 to 525 plus, 85 is normal, from 11 p.m. through the night. It was currently 6 a.m., and his blood sugar was still way too high. She was saying he may need to go to the hospital. She said, maybe change his pump, maybe he needs a new one. This means change it in an hour and a half when he gets to my home. My first thought was that it was a pump issue as well. I told her, the doctors say to take his pump off, give him insulin from the pen, then put a new pod on when he comes here. This is mandatory basic understanding to use this system for our son. Her reply, the doctor said to do that if the pump doesn't work. What doctor told you that? I explained to her that the doctor recommended this at the last endocrinologist appointment I had with him. Her reply, you can try what you want at your house. If he's not down by noon, you'll need to take him in, or I will. I was frustrated by this response. His blood sugar had been high for 7 hours at this point. By the time she dropped him off with me, at 7:30 a.m., it would have been 8.5 hours with blood sugar over 400. She had clearly communicated she was at a loss and was questioning hospitalization, so why would she be okay with waiting until noon? That would be 13 hours with blood sugar over 400 and a serious risk, if not certainty, of DKA, his blood turning acidic. I replied, if you bring him to me ASAP, I'll get his blood down quickly. If you think he needs a new pump, you should not wait on that, especially if you think he's close to hospital level. You need to provide me with all the troubleshooting steps you've already attempted. Her reply, I don't think there is anything wrong with the pump. I don't think you realize how high his blood sugar is. This is much worse than normal. If this happens at your house a lot, then there is a serious problem. Troubleshooting steps? This is our son, not a robot. Try to care for him just like I have done all night. If he's not better by noon, we will take him in. Hospitals help, not harm. To her statement, I do not think there is anything wrong with the pump, I reminded her of the text she had sent where she said, maybe change his pump, maybe he needs a new one. I ignored the rest of her jabs because I was worried about my son and felt helpless knowing what to do while she wasn't following the training. I simply replied, tell me what steps you've taken throughout the night. Did you bolus for phantom carbs? If so, to what degree? Did you test for ketones? She replied that she did not test for ketones and asked me to do that during my time with him. She explained that she had been tricking the pod into giving double doses all night, and then she told me that she had just removed the pod and immediately gave long-acting insulin. That is not the insulin he needed. He needed short-acting insulin. I asked, what time did you give the long-acting insulin? I'll need to know that when putting the pod back on the next day, what was the dose of insulin from the pen that you gave at that time? What was his blood sugar at that time? When did you first notice he was high? The Dexcom Follow app doesn't show me the exact time. What was his diet yesterday? What did he specifically eat before bed? She responded, calm down. If this is too much for you, I'll take the whole day off and take care of him myself if you prefer. I replied, I am the definition of calm. You are not providing the right details. Very long story short, she answered none of my questions. I got him, and he had never been given a shot from the pen. I checked his blood sugar manually, gave him the proper correction dose from the insulin pen, and called the endocrinology team. He was perfectly healthy within 2 hours. His mom got seemingly defensive that he recovered so quickly with me and demanded that I take him to the hospital even though he was now healthy. His endocrinologist said not to because he was fine and only had trace ketones, meaning there was no risk of DKA, but to continue monitoring him. His mom called the cops on me. The cops said he was fine. She then called the fire department. They showed up and also said he was fine. I took him to the emergency room anyway at her request. He spent 3 hours there getting tests and fluids before they released him, confirming that he had been fine all along. So, check me. I provided the exact quotes from my phone. Am I being a jerk? Does it seem like I was freaking out? I am very worried about my son in future situations with this woman, who seems to exude pride and ignorance at the expense of our son's health. The hospital sent us a behavior contract stating that if these outbursts continue, they can dismiss my son as a patient. I just want to check myself and see if I'm part of the problem because I might need to go back to court with her and fight for medical decision-making to protect my son in the future. But if I am part of the problem, then I need to check my attitude first.